My new setup, I'm constantly reinvesting the money that I'm earning to make a better stream and make it more pleasant for you guys. So this is the SM7B. It's the microphone that I use right now. The new camera that I've got going on here is the Sony A7C. That's plugged in with a charger. Over here is a Logitech. Just in case if this goes out, I got this one as well. I've got my main screen here. You know, you gotta hit the curve right there. And we've got the secondary monitor just for anything else. Like if I'm bouncing back and forth, and you gotta know what the deal is. We got the light here to make myself look pretty, and then the Rodecaster soundboard. We're operating off a Mac Mini with a hard drive, and then back in the back there, that's where all the hub magic happens. I've got 2 new Pebble speakers. I've got my iPad when I use my drawings and all that kind of stuff, and the earmuffs. What are these called? The in-ears. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and we'll start this stream, well, right now. What's going on, Cowboy? Welcome back to the channel, the live stream tonight. We've got a couple great hosts, or guests rather, on the live stream. And tonight we are talking a whole bunch of things. We're talking about the direction of Bitcoin. We're talking civil unrest, and we're talking Pepe, this crazy meme coin that popped off. I just want to welcome you to the channel, welcome you to the show. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to my 100th million Bitcoin. Not really. I'm just trying to get another one for my kids. I want to have 1 Bitcoin per child, and I intend to having a lot of kids, so I need a lot of Bitcoin. Anyway, let's bring in our first guest. This man prepares for the worst, but his knowledge can be sometimes a curse. Never hear him mumble. You can find him on Rumble. Get his thoughts on the markets there first. He's the one, the only crypto prepper. Welcome to the channel.
That's awesome. Thank you for the introduction, man. Good to see you, Aaron. And yeah, glad to be here. Appreciate you bringing me on. Excited to have you.
Okay, yeah, glad to have you on. We've got our second guest waiting in the wings. I think he's getting ready though. He's prepping, so I could kind of see him down there. But
he's prepping too.
I do. Yeah, for sure. What's going on to Mike Thomas, Miguel, and Sack Nasty? Good to see you all here. Let me just try. Looks like he's taking a break. I'm gonna give him about a minute to collect himself here. But
Yeah.
all right, prep. Let's talk about the first part. I saw you tweeted today. I don't know if anyone saw, but let me see if I could pull this up here. The Paris Stock Exchange just got like ransacked. If anyone can see this, there's like videos of like people running in with like flares and just people kind of going crazy here. I mean, like you can kind of see like running through pandemonium. I'm not gonna. I mean, look at this. This is kind of crazy here. What?
Yeah.
What's the first reaction here? And then I want to get to some deeper thoughts. But what's your first reaction to this?
First reaction is not surprised at all. We saw protesters storm BlackRock's HQ in France really recently. We've seen uprisings happening across France for some time. And this is just another symptom, probably just one of many buildings that also were involved in today's movements in France. It's been pedal to the metal for the people there. They've now moved to calling for a old school revolution. They're not even dancing around. The conversation about pension reform being the focus of their massive concern is laughable. They've been facing extreme tyranny for years, and they've been out in the streets for years. They've been shoved under the carpet by mainstream media for years, and things are escalating for their calls. So absolutely, it's not surprising.
Certainly, this has to deal with a lot of like civil unrest rooted in the hardship it takes for like finances. No doubt, like I would assume that people having a hard time to make money. This is what happens. Civil unrest starts to decay when people don't have a way to make ends meet. I do want to bring in. I want to bring in our next guest. I want this to tie right into crypto because I think our guest here has made a fortune investing long term in this. So can the Parisians, can they make some money on crypto? I don't know, but I know this man will have a few answers for them. This man has a long-term plan. You want to invest in crypto? He's your man. He looks at projects with higher logic. He keeps his cool in the heat like a fan. He is the one, the only Brad Varnell from Infinite Crypto. Brad, welcome to the channel.
Hey, good evening. How's it going, fellas? Great to be here.
Going
Oh,
great.
glad to have you. Glad to have you on, Brad. So, I sent you the link earlier about the Parisian riots and stuff like that. And I bring this up on a crypto channel for this reason. Uh, I want to know your reaction to something like this, where it's rooted on, and how what role can crypto play in in this whole scenario of people getting upset, maybe angry, frustrated with the financial systems that they're supposed to adhere to.
Okay. I actually did not get a chance to read that whole article. I did see the topic, so I'm a little in the dark on exactly what happened. But I can probably imagine that they're going through some tough financial times. They probably have a government that is trying to put their thumb on them and control what they're doing and how they can spend their money. I don't know. Did they have some problems potentially getting money out of the bank and that kind of stuff? Were the ATMs shut down, or what exactly were they going through, to give me a little bit better of an idea on how crypto can fix it?
Yeah, I think as a general thought, it's the frustration is with the overall financial system. I would say that that's the general premise. So whether or not they're people who are leading them are making bad decisions or making selfish decisions, I would assume that a lot of these different protesters have different reasons for that. And think in particular, this one, let's see, they're going over by I think they're just protesting here. Um, yeah, they're protesting the pension reform plan. That's what it was. Yeah, so exactly what Prep said. But like I said, if we saw this in the United States, we would know that this is a multi-layered problem here. But
Yeah.
let me just broaden this out to the essentials here. What do you guys think about these next steps that the government is taking towards like CBDCs or they tried to pass that $600 tax thing that they had. What was that? You go over
Yeah.
$600 in your bank account and you got to report it. Something
Uh,
similar to that. What do you think about the encroaching um, government or centralized protection or privacy that's being moved towards the government into higher, bigger agencies? Either one of you guys can answer.
Well, I was thinking earlier today that I was wishing we had recorded the conversation that we had on the phone a couple of days,
Oh
and
yeah.
we could just replay that, because that really sums up my thoughts so much. Most of the folks that are here have probably seen me before, know a little bit about me. When I got involved in crypto back in 2017 or so, it was purely for selfish reasons. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I'd always had the dream of financial freedom. I've said this many times before, but there's a lot of people that have money. There's a lot of people that have time. There's very few people that have both. And that's what I was looking for in crypto. I believed was that answer. But as we spoke about a couple of days ago, that is still, one of my dreams, and I want to help other people with that. But it's become much more cause driven at this point, because I'm very much of the opinion that if you don't get involved in cryptocurrency and get a hold of some hard assets like Bitcoin, silver and gold kind of used to be the hedge, and are still probably something worth holding. But as far as digital currencies go, the governments are looking to create these digital coins, and once they've got them in place, they can turn your money on and off as they see fit. You don't agree with their politics? Turn off their bank account. There's so many different things that could come from that. It's really scary. And so at this point, I think it's so much about educating the population and letting them know that, yeah, you're going to create wealth through crypto also, but that the main goal is just to protect your family, to be able to buy bread and put gas in your car, and not have the government totally in charge of everything that you do and knowing every move that you make.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I seriously hate the idea of having to report to anyone like a boss or like some. I hate being micromanaged, and I just definitely don't want that from a government, especially one who doesn't even know me. So yeah, Drew, you got any reactions to that?
yeah, absolutely, man. So the EU came out with the MICA regulation and kind of that clarity everyone was talking about today. And but exactly at the same time, some people have noted some pretty interesting things. There's CY GAR, GAAR, just posted a kind of a highlight that the Euro Peg stablecoin actually has a backdoor out of the bank. SG General has a function that basically allows them to take the money away from you. Basically, they're building in backdoors that'll be utilized the same way that PayPal had that little mistake, that administrative mistake where they included, if you had said anything that can be construed as misinformation in the past or in the future, we can retroactively take $2,500 out of your account. That was a mistake twice over from PayPal. And we see the same things being put into CBDCs today, right now. We're celebrating all this regulatory clarity, but they're building back doors in these systems. And, the danger in that not only it, comes from just the very fact that they could, sure, they could shut down, some random persons, and maybe that's just kind of an isolated problem that I don't really need to think about as just a regular day-to-day person, right? Because I'm not, a big worthy target, right? That's what most people go and think about when they see stories like this, but they don't understand that, DAOs and AI and those kind of data aggregation systems that are being built right now can be used to aggregate and organize biometric data and reactions that you're having to different information that's being fed to you, in the ability to actually kind of analyze how your body is doing and how you're physically and emotionally doing at the time being. And we've heard it spoken, the powers that could be unleashed if we basically see a marriage of biometric data and blockchain. And that's an extreme power that is hopefully going to be used for good, because it'll be a way to, really expand healthcare opportunities and things like that. But, on the same token, it does have the ability to go south very quickly if you don't have a knowledgeable public that knows what they're signing over as far as what the future will look like. Because many people aren't paying attention to what's been rolled out in China, and that really hasn't been a conversation point at all for either small or larger media. So I think that the marriage of bio data and blockchain is, the big danger, and something that we need to be vocal about where our safeguards are, and being involved in things like Bitcoin or heavily decentralized systems, and really leaning into DeFi to make it just as spread out and open and free of a network as possible, so that the government has to remain and stay little, because they're supposed to be a little government with big people, and they know little about us, but we know everything about them. That's how it's supposed to be. But it's flipped. They flipped the script. And now we're on the opposite side of the ring. We're in the corner here. All of our information's already been, sold to marketers through Facebook and Instagram and all those things that we signed on to be part of these social networks, to be part of the new social circle. The town square is digital now. So you have to sign certain things to get into the town square. We signed away our data, right? And data is the new gold. So
I think what you're talking about is like a weird polygamy marriage, right? You've got blockchain, and then you've got biodata. But I also, and you mentioned it, but I want to throw in there AI, right? Like that AI piece really meshes those three in like a very weird way. And you said hopefully it's going to be used for good. I know it will be used for bad and for selfish reasons. That's just the nature.
That's why we prepare. That's why we prepare.
That's right. That's
I
right.
got a smile on my face and something else on me all day. So, that's like how I live my life. And
I'm with you too. This is Florida, dude. My shape is state, or my state is shaped in one. So it's one of these things where, like, it's just interesting to think about, where someone can really just get a handle on everything you spend, everything you do, and then like your patterns. They know that, oh, you're gonna be buying gas at this time. They know that you took a flight somewhere, and now your home is vulnerable. They know that they can know that kind of stuff. And
those carbon credits have already started appearing on our, when you go on your flight miles and all those little profiles, they're starting to show your emissions are being measured, and there's a bar, there's an end to the bar, there's a cap to it, right? Like,
golly, dude.
Yeah, it's being rolled out right in front of us. There's a lot of things keeping people well distracted while this thing gets signed into place, and the rails for this being built. But the Restrict Act is bipartisan. That's one of the most painful things I think right now, is that there's bipartisan support to deny the ability to have privacy in the United States.
Yeah, well, I mean, bipartisan because they're all in it. It's the whole thing, man. It's
Right.
just not Republicans or
It's
Democrats.
crazy.
They're
It
all
hurts.
lifetime
It hurts.
politicians. Dude, I
It
can't.
hurts.
It,
You look for a hero, right? You look
yeah,
for a
yeah, yeah.
hero.
Forget that.
And to see that going down, really unfortunate. And the Restrict Act is just a solidification in a digital format of the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
So those things they never do what they say they're going to do. They do the opposite of what they're labeled as. So
yeah, of course not. And then there's a whole bunch of this like special interest stuff snaked in there as well. But one thing that Brad said that I thought was very interesting is like, hey, you know what? Some of the people who are going to win in this next season, depending on or doesn't matter if like someone is, being oppressed with invisible government politics or bills or whatever. It's people who hold digital currencies, people who hold assets. Well, there was one person who in particular held an asset here. The asset was Pepe, if you want to call it an asset at all. He spent $250 and turned it into $1 million in 4 days. This is like the dream, right? Like you buy a frog token, and then it turned into $1 million. And then it said, can he sell it? And I'm not sure I don't even know how that would even, how is that possible? Like where would you have enough liquidity? Would you do it on Uniswap? Like there's so many questions because I've never
big
done
question in this. That's the big question in my mind too. Absolutely. That's why I stay away from meme coins. I can't. I love Pepe too. Like I'm into Pepe before the Pepe train, bro. Like I was looking at the Pepe coin just because I'm into Pepe a while back. No. Because I just don't buy meme coins, and it's just.
I've bought plenty of meme coins in my. I'm a DJ, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Tons, dude.
Tons.
Tons.
Me, bro. I mean, I like some altcoin plays for sure. You know what I mean? I definitely buy and sell. Take short-term profits or hold for long-term on altcoins. I kind of been trading day to day on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Riding some waves and levels, just scalp trading, and I just basically have one bag that's like a long-term mindset, and then another bag that's like, this is fine to take profits within the year on, or you know what I mean? It's just like kind of a more aggressive sovereign savings account that's outside of a potentially insolvent banking
That's
system.
a good way to put it. A sovereign savings account that's outside the banking system. I really like that. I'm a big believer in like the anti-fractional reserve banking system. But Brad, go ahead and finish your thought, and I'll kick it to Brad.
No, I mean, I just it feels like it's the last vote we got before ugly stuff. You know what I mean? And like conversation's important to have. And the best vote right now, I feel, is with the dollar. And obviously, they don't listen to what their constituents or who they're representing want. So you have to vote with your dollar and your feet. But sorry about that.
No, absolutely. It certainly, I like the way that put this. It's the last vote you have, and it's one of the free. I heard Michael Saylor put it like this: when people were trying to escape tyranny, they moved west, and they moved from Europe to America. And then when they escaped tyranny again, they wanted freedom. They moved from the east coast of America to the west coast, and now there's no more land, so the new west is digital, and it's in Bitcoin. So, Brad, what's your reaction to meme coins, Pepe holders? Is it meme coin time? On ATB, they asked me if it was meme coin summer, like hot girl summer, but I'm not sure if it's me or not. Brad, what do you think about this meme coin and future ones?
All right. Well, I found that most of the people that I respect the most in this space feel very similar to the way that I think most of us do. I've never really subscribed to the meme coin. I'm always looking for something that is that's going to hopefully be around here in 25 or 50 years. Back in the .com bubble, 99% of those companies, went out of business. but the ones that are still here, are reshaping the world, like the Microsofts and the Amazons and well, I mean, Starbucks isn't reshaping the world, but it's, they've stood the test of time. And those are the types of companies that, had you invested in them back in the 90s, would have created generational wealth for you and your family. And I'm looking for the same thing when it comes to these cryptocurrencies and these projects. I want something that's going to be around, that I can pass this on to my children and stuff for. So I missed out on Doge. I missed out on Shibu. I missed out on Pepe, but that never bothers me, because I know that there's plenty of solid investments, and there's going to be other Pepes too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not too good for Pepe. If I had a crystal ball and had any idea what was going to happen, I would have certainly thrown a few $100s at Pepe myself. I'm not above it. I just always hear about these after the fact. I've never been savvy enough to get in on them before they have this pump. But I am kind of curious, that article, it sounds like they don't think that there's enough liquidity, but I'm like looking at CoinGecko right now. There's $10 million worth of volume on MEXC Global just today. And there's multiple exchanges that have it on there. So it seems like this guy, maybe he couldn't realize the whole million, but I bet you he's able to get several $100,000 out of it if he wanted to.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that you go back to your wife and you're like, hey babe, hey babe, we made it, we did it, I did it, red panty night, I got it.
Oh my God,
we got rich off of Pepe.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. You know what I mean? And it's great on them if it happens, and then you realize some profit. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people I know. I think even Ben was in on Pepe or something like that, short term. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And there's multiple Pepes too. There's Pepe, like the frog or something. There's multiple Pepes. There's not just one. I don't even know which one is the right one. Look at this. This is like Pepe Moon, RB Pepe, Pepe Soul.
There is such controversy around Pepe, just the frog in and of itself. Like, he turned into what was called an alt-right symbol over the last few years. So
Seriously?
Yeah, he was, absolutely. And so, his imagery being plastered all over the internet again is just like, what? Because it's, it's a picture of a frog. It's like, just...
Oh, because of this right here.
He's like, and there's hundreds of them. That's a good one. Yeah, but he has definitely been, a fixture within, culture for the last few years, but only because the ACLU came after him. Then everyone's like, "Ooh, what's that?" They got to go looking and stuff like that. We're talking about, we're pissed.
I think
you know what I mean?
With Pepe, I was trying to find why that coin popped off, and I'm beginning to think that it was because of Bitcoin ordinals, right? Pepe was like an NFT on Bitcoin that was one of the first movers, and so. That's just my I'm just thinking out loud here. I think that's
one of the first ordinals was a Pepe. I think that's what I'm thinking back to you as well. Absolutely,
under 100,000 minted. Pepe the collection was that, and so I think obviously I think a lot of people were trying to pile in, but it could it's a freak thing, People just start piling in. It's the greater fool game.
Similar type of memes are going to be like Wojak. Right, or the NPC character, those types of election season memes are gonna potentially be NFT things. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised by it. Because they're kind of all the same sector of meme culture. You know what I mean? You had the Pepe the Frog, you had Wojak. There's a slew of them. The guy with the head that's all smashed in, you know what I mean? There's a slew of different specific memes that will probably be coming out and doing similar moves, but it's nothing that I'm out there chasing or anything like that. But it's interesting to see, because thinking back to the last cycle, it was Dogecoin that pumped first, right? And just went nuts, and then felt like the canary in the coal mine, shit, stuff's about to get spicy, right? When you notice when people start seeing these huge spikes and just massive influxes of people, that's what gets the gears going on, the excitement. And then more eyes come and see what's going on, and how that move happened. And that is kind of what I felt like was the buildup in the last cycle, was Doge going nuts, from like fractions of a penny to, whatever it went. And then SNL happened after that, right? So I had like two pumps. Basically, I just felt like that was like an alarm bell that the bull market had started again. I was joking when it happened. I was like, this is the animal spirits have returned to the market. That's an old saying from the 1920s and the depression and the buildup, because you get it's just like historically, this feels like we are on the 180-year cycle, the 80 to 100-year cycle. The fourth turning is talked about, where culture is worked on and operated in 4 different 20-year sections. And like right now, with everything going on the macro, with all the fighting going on, there's a large conflict happening. I don't know if I can say the words on whatever platform we're on right now.
Don't get me banned.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not saying anything, right? But it's things are spicy. This is like the new Roaring 20s. This is what this is. There's all these warnings. Trump come out here today and be like, hey, we're probably gonna have a recession. And then Jerome Powell like hinting at the recession. And honestly, we've been in a recession. The next step is a depression. Like we hit negative GDP that we haven't seen since a civil war in the last few years. And we haven't paid for that. We haven't paid for that at all. That is not.
I think I said it a while ago, but it bears saying again. It's like one of those things where the day of reckoning cannot be denied. It could only be delayed. And it's one of those things where like, when is this really going to happen? When's the shoe going to drop on all of us? I'm just curious. Like it's like a little scary thing, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon personally. But I think like you're right. There's these, I remember in 2020, 2021, I know Brad, you were investing crazy then too, but I was making thousands of dollars off of like random behind coins, like Shiba Saku, you know what I mean? Like the things you've never heard about. Like I'd throw $20 in, I'd do a live buy and be like, guys, I don't freaking know. I do a live buy, I check back in an hour and it's pumped. And I'm like, what is happening, dude? I'm not a genius. And then I start believing the narrative. Oh crap, I might be a genius. I might be I might be a crypto genius. And it's like, I was no genius, dude. It's just a bull run. Brad, what do you think about, like, are there any gems that you're picking right now? Is there anything like you're looking at? Like, what if you look back on the time when you were investing? Like, what's the craziest thing you'd be investing in? Or you said you're not above investing in Pepe. Give me your reaction to like a potential meme coin summer.
I don't know of any meme coins that I would recommend. I'm still high on like UFO gaming. It hasn't done, a whole lot since we've been talking about it, but I still think that it's got some massive potential during the next bull market. I have had a couple of nice calls over the last few months. I had the founder of Dimitra, DMTR, on my channel, and I did a deep dive on them back in like October, November. They were down at about 0.003 cents, and they just recently peaked at 9 cents. So it was about a 30x in the last 6 months. I think it's back down to, down to about 7 cents a day or two ago. And then with today's dip, with Bitcoin dipping to 28, it might be back down even lower than that. But that's a pretty nice little win for anybody that got into that. The thing is it's still got a ton of room to grow. Its all-time high was almost $6. So even at 10 cents, it's got a 60x left in it to get back to its all-time high. And the other thing that I love about that project is that it's doing something good for people. It's helping small farmers across the world to maximize their crops, to minimize their expenses, and the team is just an incredible team behind it, which is one of the things that I know all of us, are looking for. And so that's still a token that, even though it's had massive pump in the last few months, that I would still feel pretty comfortable riding, into the next bull market. That I love my Glint, my Beam Swap. That's still another one that I've been accumulating. It recently had a really nice pump from about 0.008 all the way up to 0.008 up to 0.002 or zero, just maybe one. It was 0.008, I want to say, and it went
Yeah,
to
308.
0.002. It was only about a 2.5x, but it was still, to make 250% on your money in just a couple of days. And then, as you can see, it's, dropped back down a pretty decent chunk also, and it's sitting down at, 1.12 now. But those are a few that I just been slowly accumulating, helping my friends. I just got my buddy. He sent me $1,000 because he was having some trouble getting some banking done. I bought him a 1,153,000 beam swap at about 0.008, 0.009, for $1,000. It was worth over $2,200 when it was up at 0.02 or 0.002 a couple of days ago. Now it's up just a little bit, maybe 40% or something like that. But it's still, what is the market cap? I'm gonna guess it's at $300,000 or $400,000 right now, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000, something like that. Well under $1 million market cap on beam swap still. So those are three that I'm pretty excited about still.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, I think I went in on with like all of them on you. I get DJ when I start just going in. Let's see, Mike Thomas BSC pad too. BSC pad. I remember this one. I thought this was genius stuff, but this one ended up being really bad. Especially it got hit hard with the bear market.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
What was that?
Again, in my opinion, we're not going to know whether any of these picks are really good until the end of 20. I'm having some feedback all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got some feedback here.
We back to normal? Nope.
I've never seen BSC pad or any of these projects. Like, these are probably pretty violent movers on the up and downside, right? Like, this is something
BSC pad is a launch pad.
Yeah.
Let me. Brad, I think it's your mic.
You got zap.
Check.
I'm hearing it on your end too.
This is great live TV.
This is awesome. This is what it's all about. Yes.
Let's see. All right, boys. Let's take a quick test.
Testing. Syphilis.
Check. Oh, it might be perfect. Check.
Check.
It's Drew. It's Prep.
Okay.
We found it. Maybe hop on. Nice house.
Let's see here. Maybe I'll back out and maybe come back in here. I'll see if I can reset it.
That'd be good.
All right.
Yeah. BSC pad is let's see, is a launch pad. There we go. Yeah. Okay, good deal. BSC pad's a launch pad.
Yeah, I'm back to normal too.
Yeah, me too. It's all good. I think he was on his phone or something like that. I think he heard like a call or something. I remember having this. I don't recommend this at all right now. There's no like project launching at all. No one be crazy enough to launch. Look, there's no projects launching at all. These are, but like they're all looking for quick money, and I don't believe in any of those. So,
reminds me one other one, Aaron, that we forgot to talk about was Gains.
Gains. I haven't seen Gains.
Just had a private sale for a company called Chain GPT that did like a 20 or 30x at launch. I think you got 3.5% at launch. So had you sold it towards the peak after it launched, you would have gotten back, say, 60 to 90% of your initial capital and still be sitting on 96.5% of the tokens. So definitely I think it's all the way up to about 16 cents right now too. So it's one of those that the closer we get to the the bull market, and the more, as more successful projects start to launch, that token, at its peak was, a $2 token. It will definitely run back up into the top, high 80s, 90s, a dollar 20, $1.50. So you want to get 10,000 of those before they get too expensive, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but
Only financial advice here. That's the only thing we give.
right.
Looks like Drew. I thought Drew would come in really quickly here. Hopefully, he comes in soon. Yeah, gains is one of those things where I was accumulating at like 7, 8, 9 cents, which was like fantastic right now. So really, and then I started staking them or whatever they wanted me to do. So I staked them.
Yep.
I forgot about it. Like I would have forgotten totally about gains right now.
So you never got into like the Telegram group so that you see the private sales and stuff that they're doing?
I did. I did. I just
Okay.
like, they have
Yeah.
so many. I'm like, I can't keep up with this. So I'm like, I don't know. To be fair, I get into everything. So there's this like I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not gonna call it a Ponzi scheme because I'm sure they've heard this a lot. But there's this like Facebook group that I got into. Let me see if I can get there. Hold on. Let's just do this for some just for like the complete degen in us. Hold on, let's see. Okay, here's my Facebook. Let me pull this up. All right, so this I'm going to show this to you guys, but I do not in any way endorse it, support it. This is not that. I'm giving it free time because you guys are degens like me, and so you just want to know what's out there. Okay, you just want to know what's out there. This is what's out there. Let me split this up. I got into this thing called passive income opportunities. Again, I don't endorse this at all. Matter of fact, don't even pay attention. Click off the video. But here's just my experience with this. One of my friends' dads heard I was in crypto and they recommended this Facebook group. And apparently, and there's like, I don't know, like something like 5,000 people in this thing. And they said basically you buy like this package of like $550 with USDT and on the ERC, and yeah, and then they take that money and they buy like ad space. I don't fully know, but then again, I take my same investing approach with meme coins as this. So I just like I don't care. You tell me I'm in 50, fine, 550. Let's go. Let's throw it in there. And they said that every month, once a month, every month, you get back $120 ERC20 inside your wallet, not in an account that they have inside your wallet. My first month is over. I got back my 120. Okay. You, yes. So I mean, I don't know how long this is going to last. My friend has done it for 2 months and she did it because it's her dad. And then the dad that got me in it, I guess he's been in it for several months and he's got like thousands of dollars in it. Probably a scam. So here's my idea of scam, gnomes. You say it's probably a scam. You're probably right. Okay. But for me, if you know me, if you follow me any length of time on this channel, I've gone straight into scams, like scam tokens. I've like went into complete meme coins, and so I've bought. It sounds exactly like, like I'm just not. Look, I told you guys. I have a very high risk tolerance. I tolerate a lot of risk. I appreciate that. I'm not endorsing this at all. You know what? Even if you get into this, don't even tell them that I sent you here. I think there's some kind of affiliate thing that goes on. I'm not even promoting this, but it's one of those things where like I can't possibly um, say anything's a scam anymore. I've just been in so many NFT projects, meme coins, things that have failed. I've lost I've lost that ability to say that. I just have to have a high risk tolerance. That's all. And I'm not going to show that anymore. I'm not shilling it at all. I don't think I am. I'm really saying like not do that. I've just I feel like this is what I've always done on this channel. Just what is this? Sure. Throw sure. That's
Yep.
my sure, right? That's it. Uh is is there anything that like besides those altcoins and super meme coins, anything that you're really just long-term holding, Brad, as far as crypto goes? Or any like weird little projects that you have going on with? stuff.
I talked about a NFT project, and it was kind of wrapped around a poker room on the Solana network. It's called Soul City Poker. And since I enjoy, playing some online poker, I had an opportunity to meet the founder and the owner at an NFT conference back, a few months ago. Not the one that we all. Or no, it were you didn't go to the NFT con here in Vegas back like in October or whatever. You were no,
I
yeah,
did.
that's what,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
that's
me.
what, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't that one, but it was in that same realm of time. But one of the things that attracted me to it is they had 777 Generation One donkeys, they called them, and if you owned one of those, you receive a portion of the rake. So in a poker room, the way that they make money is they take a little bit of money out of every single hand that's dealt. That's called the rake. And so if you owned one of these 777 donkeys every single Monday, you got a portion of that rake put into your Solana wallet. And so it started off at about 2/10 of a Solana a week. It's been as much as half a Solana. And I bought it at about 21 Solana at the time. Solana was about 35, so I want to spend around $700 on it. At its peak, it was up to 100 Solana when Solana was worth 20, so it was worth 20, 2 grand. But it's making me, anywhere from about right around one to between one and two Solana a month passive income. And so that's another project that they've made a lot of big changes. The poker room's
What's this
doing
called?
well. As Soul City Poker, SOLCITYPOKER. You're not going to find it like on CoinGecko because it doesn't have a token. It was an NFT. It's got the NFTs. Um, I think, let me see if I can. I think it's just soulcitypoker.com is their homepage.
Do you
Yeah,
still
Soul
play
City.
poker online with this stuff?
Yeah. So yeah, if you pull up soulcitypoker.com, that doesn't take you to where you can buy the donkeys, but you could probably figure it out from there. But anyways, I like playing online poker. I like the idea of owning a NFT that had utility where I was getting a percentage of the rake. As the poker room grows and becomes more successful, the rake goes up. Therefore, the amount of soul that I get every week goes up. And I think that it, could turn into, say, a soul a week in rewards. And I think that Solana, as many problems as it's had, could definitely still be, $200-300 token during the next bull run. So I spent $700 on this sucker, and if I'm right, during the next bull run, it's going to be making me, $200 or $300 a week.
Wow. So this is safe. Like I could download this. It's safe. You've used it. You use
Thousand
it now.
percent, man. I've put hundreds and hundreds of dollars in there, played for tons and tons of hours, been able to cash out every single time I wanted to, no problem. I would feel very comfortable. Yep, 100%.
Do people play with you? What's the user base, or do you play against AI or something?
No, you're playing against other humans.
Okay.
So originally you deposited Solana, and then that got you one Solana gave you 1,000 in poker chips. Now they've got it tied to USDC or USDT. So $1, one chip is worth $1. In the past, it was 1,000 chips was worth, one Solana. So whatever the price of, so theoretically you could make or lose money on your poker chips, because if Solana was worth 30 one day and then 20 the next, your 1,000 chips was still worth whatever one Solana was worth. Now they've got it tied to USDT, so you don't have to worry about the fluctuation of Solana when you're playing poker.
Oh,
Your
that's good.
one chip is $1. And that
It-
also broadens the market. They knew that this was never going to get really, really big if it had to be, used by people that knew about the Solana ecosystem. Now the way that they're doing it, this is going to be available to people that really don't care about crypto, but that want to find a good poker room to play on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Crawfish has a good question. Is there a way to audit the RNG for the site, the random number generator, the randomness?
I'm not sure. You know, they do have a good Discord group. You could probably get in and ask that question. I know that when I vetted it back in the beginning, I think that came up. I had the owner Matt on my channel back in around October. I want to say we spent about
Mhm.
an hour doing an AMA, and he answered a bunch of those questions. I just don't remember the exact technical answer that he gave. But I
Yeah, I
know
love
that
it.
they have had the site audited, and that it has been, you know, signed off on by an outside company, that there is, you know, a random number generator and that it's legit.
Yeah. Like a Certec or something like that on the auditor. Okay, cool.
Kind of,
I
yeah.
like that. Guys, let's wind out the night here, but we got to bring back one of definitely the strongest and maybe the most handsome person back on the channel.
Oh,
Back to Drew here.
1000% the most handsomest.
I don't
So
know about that. I don't know about that.
100%, 100%. Look, guys, we have this last bit of uh news to take care of, and I think it's what everyone's on their mind, and we just want to know how we're thinking towards this. Glad to hear we're back to normal, Drew. Glad to have you back. Bitcoin is a tweet that was posted. Bitcoin 1 month ago was 27K, and everyone was convinced that we would see a million. Now it's 28.5, and we're crashing down to new lower lows. You guys know that I'm not the best TA guy. I'm not the best. I'm not even close. I'm the worst um, on Bitcoin. Where do you guys see Bitcoin going from here? That's the number one question, and why? Why do you
Mm.
see that? For sure, up to you guys.
Well, I mean, I've been calling for this crash down to 27, 28 since we kind of tapped the 31 range. Just if you back up and look at the chart, like the resurgence back to 30K from 17 just looks way too fast to be like sustainable or healthy long term. So this is very normal, you know what I mean? And I kind of offloaded my profits in the short term that I took from altcoins, and still hold the Bitcoin. That I did most of my Bitcoin buys at 17 and 20. Did some altcoin buys, but much less than the Bitcoin. And I just kind of realized those profits on my altcoins in the short term, because I just don't feel like altcoins as a whole are ready to move yet. Like we'll have these short term narratives with AI and all that, but yeah, I'm looking actually pretty happy now. I felt like it was too expensive above 30, you know, and I'm here for a healthy retracement. And kind of what Kaleo was pointing to on this tweet is exactly what I have in my mind, as far as where the market would go. And, you know, it's pretty funny how it's just like it looks like a stair step. It's what it looked like at the last beginnings of the bull market, you know what I mean? And where we didn't know we were there, it was moving from 5K to 9K, and then it would fall back down to 7K. And, you know, we all kind of felt like, it wasn't going to happen, or it was stalling out and this is the end of the world, you know. But, yeah, I mean, looking at this looks completely normal and healthy and welcome to me, because now I can go into altcoins at a much cheaper price point, like Ajax, Singularity Net. I think it hit like 35 cents today. I'm hopeful to get into Singularity at 30 cents or maybe even below, which I think would be awesome, because I want to have some exposure to the AI kind of narrative coins. And I'm a big fan of Cardano and Ben Gertzel. He's a really good name in the space of AI. So yeah, man, I'm stoked about it. Honestly, like it's given me, a chance to re-up new bags. You know what I mean? And I went on vacation with the old ones, and still holding the Bitcoin, still stacking the Bitcoin, of course. But yeah, it's a new opportunity is how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, I was trying to look for a chart that I saw. I'm gonna have to just describe it. I'll post it on like Twitter or something in the future. But it showed the time frame of the halving, and that 365 days before the halving, we saw like really lows, and then 365 days after the halving, we saw some highs from Bitcoin. And so it's one of those like, hey, like what's going to happen here? We're about a year out from the halving, which is going to be like early-ish Q1, maybe Q2 in 2024. So we're about a year out.
Mhm.
Is this the low? Like, did a lot of people call the 16, 20,000? I even say if you call 20,000 low, that I mean that's pretty much the same thing, honestly. And in the scheme of where Bitcoin could be,
Mhm.
yeah, it's one of those things that I've definitely flipped my perspective on, and it took Bitcoin hitting about 28K for me to really think that.
Mhm.
um, Amongst of other things. I think the halving is a big deal for me, and I think what's the other one? The pivot, the Fed pivot, is I think it's going to happen. They're slowing down the BP hikes, and they're eventually a pause is going to happen before a pivot, and so that pause is probably not going. It's not going to happen this one, but it's probably the next one, maybe the one after the Fed meeting. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to say it's going to happen, but I kind of see that. I would see that easily happening.
Yeah.
Brad, where do you think Bitcoin's going to go from here? Up, down, sideways?
Man, I
How
would.
long?
So I almost wish that I would have gotten to go first, so that I wasn't influenced. But I will say what I was going to say before I listened
Yeah.
to Drew, and then I'm kind of interested. I've got a question for him. So back in the last cycle, the last bear cycle that I went through, in 18, 19, and 20, there was multiple relief rallies where we really thought that we were headed back up. And like I've mentioned before, my dad and I, who were in crypto together, would cheer on the phone, man, like, hey man, it's finally happening. Our dreams are getting ready to come true. And then we would get crushed off. And it happened multiple times, where in this bear cycle, we've really only had one smaller relief cycle way back. I want to say is like in, I don't know, was it October or November? Remember when I won that contest between me, you, and I called it at 24,
I
25.
can't forget. I can't forget.
That was the only semi relief cycle that we got until this. So my gut tells me that we've got some retracing to do at some point in time between now and the next Bitcoin halving. I don't necessarily think that we're going to get all the way down to some of those lows. Like originally, I was one of the guys that wasn't going to be surprised if we saw $10,000 Bitcoin. I didn't think it would stay there very long. I thought it would be a big wick down, and then probably a relatively decent sized wick back up into the 13, 14, $15,000 range. But I really thought we were going to hit 10, 12K Bitcoin. I don't believe that's probably the case any longer, but I will not be surprised at all if we dip back down into the low 20s. And that's kind of what my question is for Drew. Do you agree with that at all? Do you think we might see 20, 21, 22? Or do you think this 25 to 27K range could be the worst that it gets over the next year while we're waiting for the next bull to commence?
Really
I
quick.
definitely.
This is where I ate the cricket, and this is where I lost to Brad right here. Really quick. That's where I ate the cricket. And
I was on this. Was I? Because I know I was outwardly calling the bottom, and I did have my own channel at the time. I might have been on your channel calling
don't
that.
don't make me eat another cricket, please.
But yeah, dude. Like no, I mean like when we hit like so for reference, like the last time I bought crypto heavily and not $10 or something like that, like heavily, like was COVID. So I waited between COVID and FTX to start buying more. The only thing I was doing in between the two was selling. And then I FOMO'd into Doge way late, learned my lesson about Doge. That was the one thing I did out of step. And I learned my lesson. And now that's why I'm kind of hard side disciplined about meme coins. But basically, when I bought at the flu season crash, it felt the same as buying that 17 crash internally. It felt exactly the same as far as how many people were saying it was a scam, it was dead, lower lows, this is the end. And so it had the same tone. And I would say 20K Bitcoin, like there's a CME gap at 20,300 that hasn't been filled. That's actually pretty substantial. It's a pretty large CME gap. I don't think CME gaps are driving the market, and I don't really think that they ever did at any point. It was just a statistical coincidence, honestly, in my opinion, from looking at it, because it's only data from 2017. So but that being said, we have enough bad things going on the macro that we absolutely could see a short-term wick down to those levels. Like, there's all kinds of news that I won't, spew all over your channel because I want to respect your platform and stuff like that. But
You could give me the
we,
code. Give me the code.
all right, so we are pretty close to a city having a midnight bright sunshine.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And
oh boy.
yeah, so like, that headline would absolutely drive markets down. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Not to mention,
absolutely.
the tension, I mean, because like BRICS, no one cared about BRICS when I talked about it a year or two ago. You know what I mean? It was just a mood point, very little people paid attention to. The reason why BRICS was so important to me back then is that it was an idea proposed by Goldman Sachs out of New York in 2001 in November of 2001 of talking about the trade in world, the shift in world trade, right? So
Mhm.
hearing the shift in world trade, a document made out of Manhattan, 2001, November, at the end of November of 2001, and then a lot of things have happened since then if we back up. So like, the situation we're in right now is kind of like a an accumulating effect that we're having from all of our conflict, military conflict. It's coming to a head. So we are at that point where, Deutsche Bank could be the next one to fall as far as the banking crisis, or we could have, a really bad headline about the conflict come across. So I don't write off 20 at all. And like, in those situations, I'd be moving. I mean, I'd be very, very tempted by altcoins, but every time that stuff happens, I feel like buying Bitcoin first and then letting the bull market really get confirmed by like 40, $50,000 Bitcoin. And then you'll start to see these projects that are at the floor that have been beat down the whole bear market. Those ones are going to pick up and start doing what Doge and SHIB and,
Yeah.
all these other ones do. But I just don't think we're there yet. And it's going to play into
You,
the pivot you talked about. Like, in my opinion, the Fed pivot's coming when election season starts and the advertisements hit. If I was, behind
yeah, absolutely.
the lever of media and control of, people and their, political intentions, I would wait until the election advertisements start and then pull the brakes on Fed rate hikes and make money quantitative easing again. That's basically, what I see them doing. That's the cycle that they've done. It's kept people asleep. It's worked so far. And we're going to experience more of the same for the near short term 5 years, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pivot at the end of the year, potentially Q1, where they're actually going to have to cut rates, and that's going to look
Yeah.
really bad. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the pivot's coming. I think I don't think it's this Fed meeting. I think it's the one after. It's a pause actually is what I want to be specific on what I'm looking for. But I mean just the one you mentioned, a midnight bright sun. It is really scary and actually really really sad for it. I mean, the fact of the matter is it's very possible. That's incredibly possible, and
Mhm.
it just makes me very very sad and very wary.
Well,
Bitcoin will at that point is not the priority. It's just like
you know,
it is pretty sad.
it's a transparency in our financial system would create a situation, in my opinion, where these bombs won't be so cheap to the industrial complex. You know what I mean? And the printing of money just for that type of spending and the propagation of constant conflict, to move markets forward. I think if we had a monetary system that had to act responsibly under the understanding that it's on a public ledger and that the people can
Oh yeah,
actually see what's going on, that's
sound
an
money.
amazing way to recapture not only just sound money but sound society. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Where you're not able to spend god awful amounts of money on a border that's not yours, fighting a war that's not yours on the other side of the earth, right?
Mhm.
Then that move would be a lot more difficult if you had the confines of fiscal responsibility and blockchain holding you back
Yeah,
from doing so.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one
so
of
this
those things where like in Bitcoin standard, they talked about like how um, the ability to print money prolonged wars and actually
It actually does.
increased cause of death. And so that it's like you have a war that you need to win. It's like one of those things. And but then at the same time, it's like, would it have mattered if you lost the war? You know, like there's a flip side of that too. Like you're gonna do anything you can to make sure you're not speaking German. You know,
Mm.
so I don't know. It's one of those things. Let's begin to wind down the night here, guys. At the at the end of the day, I think we are hitting it for crypto. Brad, do you have any final thoughts for us? As we roll out of here.
Yeah, man, I'll give you guys a little bit of advice. Thank you all for being on here. Make sure that you subscribe to Aaron's channel if you haven't already. You can find Prepper on Twitter. He's got an amazing Twitter. He's got a pretty cool TikTok channel too. But what I would say, folks, is don't disengage. I didn't follow my own advice for a little while. I got tied up in some things where I was working hard to make some money and doing some other things in life. And so I really kind of didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at crypto for the last couple of months. And holy smokes, man, I feel like it's going to take me 6 months to catch back up because it had moved so fast. So I feel like I'm a little bit behind the curve. So I know we're always telling you guys that those of you that stay engaged and stay true to the program are going to be rewarded in 2024, 2025. And even myself, though, it's sometimes it's hard to keep your eye on the prize. So I just you know try to give you, learn a little bit from my mistakes and stay engaged, stay on top of things. And man, I look forward to seeing you guys at the top here in about the next year and a half. It's going to be an amazing time.
I'm excited for it. Prep, you got anything last final things to say for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Just physical sovereignty is going to be extremely important for us to recapture, and this technology we can do so. We can change the world and stop the amount of conflict we've seen, and really do something revolutionary and almost a technological renaissance. So,
Absolutely.
it's just an amazing time to be alive. And if you're watching this show, or if you're involved right now, you're probably going to be doing just fine if you stay focused. So,
What a time to be alive, guys! Thanks for chat. Thanks so much for being a great chat tonight. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Prep, for being on the show, and we will see you guys in the next stream. See you guys.